Dear friends, welcome to another episode of U.S. Global Shield Today. For exactly 14 consecutive days, a fragile truce hung like a shadow over the Middle East. In Washington, within the corridors of the Pentagon and the White House Situation Room, the silence was not peace, but a calculated tactical pause. In Tehran, inside the headquarters of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, that same silence fueled paranoia. The atmosphere between the United States and Iran had reached a critical saturation point. The calm concealed the reorganization of U.S. forces. As night fell over the Persian Gulf and the Zagros Mountains, the gears of a massive offensive began to turn once again with devastating intensity. The night brought with it a silent warning delivered by the movement of air assets and orders from United States Central Command headquartered in Tampa. A senior U.S. official confirmed to Axios that the armed forces had launched a new round of strikes against strategic targets in Iran. It was not an isolated incident, but the resumption of an interdiction campaign. The most alarming element for Tehran was the uncertainty. No one knew which locations were in the American crosshairs. There was only the certainty that a surgical offensive was underway, triggering panic within the Iranian regime's command structures, facing an imminent and devastating aerial threat. However, a crucial detail went unnoticed by the international press in the rush of the initial headlines. Just hours before the strikes, President Donald Trump had issued a clear warning, declaring that the United States would respond with even more force to any provocation by the Iranian regime or its proxy militias. This warning did not remain mere rhetoric. It turned into the operational order guiding Pentagon planning. The promise to deploy superior firepower materialized on the ground with surgical precision, focusing on the selective destruction of vital command and logistics infrastructure, leaving no room for any organized response by the adversary in the military theater. The prelude to this offensive had already taken place earlier that morning. In northwestern Iran, in West Azerbaijan province, the city of Piranshahr, near the Iraqi border, felt the impact of American capabilities. Piranshahr, home to the Revolutionary Guard's 21st Hamza Sayed al-Shohada base, became the epicenter of the first strike. F-35A stealth fighters launched guided munitions, targeting bunkers and communication towers. Shortly after, Iranian state television, IRIB, interrupted its programming to report, "Our American enemy has attacked our sovereign infrastructure in Piranshahr," confirming the severity of the damage inflicted on the regime's underground military facilities in that strategic area. This retaliation marked the end of a two-week truce, proving that the pause was not hesitation, but a period spent refining target selection. During that calm, Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA intelligence, worked to map every missile silo and drone base in Iran. Donald Trump's promise to use even more force translated into doctrine in action. The regime in Tehran, still absorbing the damage from previous weeks, found itself facing a rapid, orchestrated escalation designed to neutralize its defenses, exposing the vulnerability of its forces deployed along the most militarized borders of Iranian sovereign territory. It was at the core of this operation that Trump's secret weapon revealed its full scale. The innovation of this offensive lay not just in conventional explosives, but in the simultaneous deployment of cyber and electronic warfare. As B-2 Spirit stealth bombers flew undetected over Iran, United States Cyber Command executed a massive digital assault. This cyber intrusion paralyzed the S-300 and Bavar-373 anti-aircraft systems, blinding surface-to-air missile batteries even before kinetic strikes began, precluding any interception attempt by Iranian military operators managing the radar network across the nation's airspace during that overnight assault. The impact of this dual strike left Iran completely vulnerable. Unable to track air assets over West Azerbaijan or the Strait of Hormuz, the Iranian military command watched as its control centers were dismantled. In Piranshahr, the underground complex supplying proxy groups in Iraq and Syria was neutralized by GBU-28 bunker busters. Satellite imagery revealed massive craters and destroyed gallery entrances, dismantling one of the Iranian regime's most valuable supply hubs and proving that even its deepest fortifications offered no protection against the high-precision technological arsenal deployed by forces under Donald Trump's direct command. For the government in Tehran and Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, the scenario represented a lasting military humiliation. By demonstrating an ability to penetrate highly defended airspace without losses and instantly disable communications networks, Washington shattered decades of deterrence narrative. Iran's defense doctrine, centered around ballistic missiles, collapsed upon discovering that its silos in Tabriz and Isfahan had been electronically jammed before launch orders could even be issued, leaving the nation's military leadership with no visible ability to retaliate or safeguard its sovereign borders against the overwhelming superiority displayed by the United States in the Middle Eastern theater of operations today. Despair among Revolutionary Guard commanders deepened as fresh explosions were confirmed throughout the night. Leaked reports from Supreme National Security Council meetings revealed a deep rift between generals and diplomats. While military hardliners demanded missile strikes on American bases, technical analysts warned that any retaliation would be detected instantly, leading to the destruction of the few remaining operational batteries. The trap set by Donald Trump and executed by the Pentagon left the regime no room to maneuver, forcing a decision-making paralysis that exposed the Iranian high command's vulnerabilities amid a crisis of unprecedented historical proportions in today's geopolitical landscape. Beyond the military impact, the fallout from the strike on Piranshahr resonated in global capitals. In Tel Aviv, Israel praised American resolve and raised its readiness level. In Riyadh and Abu Dhabi, Gulf governments watched with tactical relief, aware that the regional balance of power had shifted. In Moscow and Beijing, Tehran's allies limited their responses to formal statements, signaling an unwillingness among major powers to step in and save a regime whose infrastructure was being dismantled with ease and surgical precision by Western technology, leaving Iran diplomatically isolated on the world stage as the offensive unfolded without any effective resistance. At dawn in West Azerbaijan, residents of Piranshahr watched plumes of smoke rise from the 21st base. The local population witnessed the stark contrast between the regime's boastful rhetoric and the reality of the ruins. State television attempted to maintain a tone of bravado with statements about resistance, but the absence of any retaliation exposed the regime's paralysis. The American strategy of combining technological superiority, cyber attacks, and massive firepower had achieved its objective, exposing the structural vulnerability of the Iranian security apparatus to the entire world, proving that its most celebrated forces were powerless against the sheer volume of firepower and technology deployed by U.S. forces in the region. Trump's secret weapon turned out to be the ability to integrate intelligence, electronic warfare, and kinetic force to invalidate the adversary's defenses. By stripping Iran of its ability to predict where strikes would land, the United States exerted unsustainable pressure on Tehran. The country faces not only the loss of key facilities, but the certainty that every step toward further escalation will bring even deeper and more humiliating destruction to its most prized assets, completely redefining the terms of engagement and forcing the Iranian government to reconsider its stance of direct confrontation with the global military superpower in the Middle East. Military history will record this moment as a watershed event. The illusion of strategic parity shattered in a matter of hours in northwestern Iran. Donald Trump's warning that he would use even more force proved to be the harbinger of a new era of power projection. Stripped of defenses and with its chain of command exposed, Iran faces the greatest dilemma in its history: capitulate to international demands, or watch the total dismantling of its regime while its forces remain vulnerable to new attacks with no possibility of effective defense in either the near or long-term strategic horizon. The outcome of this crisis remains unwritten, but the reality on the ground is indisputable. The strikes on Piranshahr and the neutralization of Iranian defense systems have set a new benchmark. The question echoing through the corridors of power in Tehran, Washington, and across the globe is no longer if the United States can hit any target inside Iran, but when and where the next strike will fall if the Iranian leadership continues down the path of confrontation. The technological superiority demonstrated by Washington has redefined the security architecture of the Middle East, forcing all regional powers to acknowledge this new balance of power in the Gulf. What do you think comes next? Leave your comment and join the discussion on this escalation.